Do you see this man's height difference? Do you see the reach on this man? Do you see the weight on this guy? This is a giant versus a peanut. Integrity's out the window, morals out the window, respect's out the window. It's all about money nowadays, man.
Leg it straight to the bender.
What it do, Ski family? If you've been here before, I love you. If you're new here, we're family now. Let's get right on into it. So today we're going to be reacting to, let's talk about this Jake versus Tank. Oh my gosh, absolute abomination by Cloister. Might be if I mispronounced it, brother. Let's get right on into it.
Alright fellas, we just saw the first two press conferences between Jake Paul and Tank Davis go down, and honestly they were quite odd. Now, if you've been living under a rock, Tank Davis and Jake Paul are actually set to fight each other in only a couple months' time as a part of another Netflix show. And since we last talked about it, quite a bit has gone down. So we need to break it all down. We need to break down the two presses, what sort of restrictions are going to be on this exhibition, what to expect from the...
Man, this should absolutely not be happening, man. Honest and truly, bro. Do you see this man's height difference? Do you see the reach on this man? Do you see the weight on this guy? This is a giant versus a peanut. It don't make no sense, man. That's why the Atlanta venue just did not let that go down. Shouts out to Atlanta for finally doing something right, bro. But of course, Miami's perfectly okay with it, man. Bring the BS to Miami, man.
Fight and much more. But just before we break it all down, if you love boxing, you've found yourself in the right place. My name's Cloister and I make videos about... Two
fights that should have never happened as well. But one that at least I'm happy with the outcome of, man. Golly, this is ridiculous, though.
Just before we break it all down, if you love boxing, you've found yourself in the right place. My name's Cloister and I make videos about boxing to keep you informed as things happen. So make sure to subscribe and I'll always keep you in the loop. Now, this is a fight which on paper really shouldn't be happening. In reality, should we be seeing a bloke who fights at over 200 pounds fight a small 135 pounder? No. It is ridiculous. But what makes this sport turn is money. We've seen that with them digging back up an almost 60-year-old Mike Tyson. Things seem impossible until the money starts making sense. And taking two of the biggest commercial names within the sport and combining them is easy money. There's clearly demand to see these sorts of fights. Because hey, if putting these two names together wasn't a spectacle, me and every other commentator out there wouldn't be talking about it.
He's so scary, bro. Like, how do you feel good about looking... Like, you're looking down on this man. And Netflix, you should be ashamed of yourself. Ridiculous. How could you even let something like this happen, man? You're ruining boxing. You keep promoting this BS. And Jake, one of the scariest people like I've ever seen box, man. He swears that he's so fire. He swears that he could beat up anybody. But he got beat up by Tyson Fury, and the man's been shook ever since. The man don't want no beef with nobody anywhere close to his size. And if they are close to his size, he don't want them to be anywhere close to being a skilled fighter. It's ridiculous, man. I like boxing. I really did. Keyword did.
Simply will do numbers. And although this is an oddity, it's not the first time we've seen something similar. Of course, we first jumped to the likes of Mayweather versus Logan, but we've also seen other huge gaps like the 100-pound difference between Valuev and Hay back in 2009. It's very rare we ever see something like this because of the inherent safety risks. Like the Hay fight, we saw that because they were both within the heavyweight limit. But usually we don't see fights like this. We especially don't see fights like this with fighters pretty much in their...
I'm not gonna lie, I saw that press conference. He looked kind of scared. As much as I like that boy Tank, he looked scared. He looked scared. But you know, 200 million talks. You get over that fear real quick when they start talking about some big bucks now, man. You should be ashamed of yourself too, bud.
Their prime.
Shame in the
but
sport.
Other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight? And those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser. Because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. No. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms.
I wouldn't say that. That Roach fight was pretty decent too, but we all know what happened there. So what do you think's gonna happen with this Jake fight? I'm not saying Jake anywhere on the level as that boy Roach, but he's not unbeatable. He's not unstoppable. It's been proven already, man. And then you're gonna put him in the ring with somebody dang near twice his size, bro. It just doesn't make any sense, man. If I was a betting man, I just couldn't put it on Tank as much as I want to, man.
And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple of years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see, unless he has everything his way. Truly, Tank has probably gotten off lightly over the last few years with criticism, but with this fight, it is clear to see why he has chosen it. It was interesting in the press conference seeing him try to give reasons why they took this fight over others.
One fatal reason.
There's only one, and that's money. This fight commercially is huge, and I can't criticize his choice to make generational wealth with one fight. It's certainly a bigger payday than would be offered for any other fight. We have seen...
I mean, he's not lying, bro. I mean, if you just want to look at that, what was it? The Canelo Crawford fight that just happened, bro. I mean, you saw the purse. It wasn't nothing. It was absolutely generational wealth, but I mean, Canelo walked out there with like 98, somewhere around 98 million. This man is getting a guaranteed 200 M's, bro. Of course you're gonna take that. Of course you are. But I also want to see him fight some real people, man. Money talks, man. It's sad. Integrity's out the window, morals out the window, respect's out the window. It's all about money nowadays, man. It's all about money nowadays.
Other fighters do similar things recently. We saw Fury and Joshua taking gimmick fights against Ngannou, but the difference is everyone knew that after these fights they will return to championship level boxing, and both of them did take fights after that people wanted to see. And for Gervonta,
hopefully that's what happens.
I think this fight has gotten more criticism because people don't know if Gervonta will ever fulfill on his boxing potential. But regardless of what comes next for Tank, he has an interesting challenge in front of him right now in Jake. It's certainly an odd one on paper. The official rules is this bout's an exhibition, it will be a maximum weight of 195 pounds, and the fighters will wear 12-ounce gloves on fight night. But the weight of the gloves might change from what they announced, as in the second presser they debated if to change it to 10 ounces. Really, this was the most important thing that happened in this second presser. Paul claimed he wanted the 10 ounces, Tank said, okay, so I guess we will have to wait and see if it actually changes, if the commission allows it. But another thing also about the commission, this fight was meant to happen in Atlanta, Georgia originally. But after the commission there looked like it was set to turn it down, the fight has since been moved to Miami. Now, honestly, I don't believe any of the crap about Paul fights being rigged. It's just not true. I just think his matchmaking team has been good at choosing opponents who are generally no match to him and then marketing them like they are. For this fight, this is a bigger challenge than really anything he's faced. But it is, like, people have been asking him to fight a real boxer, so okay, let's go grab the most popular, smallest fighter we can and convince the public it's an even match. I do give Jake some credit because his opponent isn't a...
They're not convincing anybody. Anybody that watched that press conference, bro, you got eyes. I got eyes, you got eyes. Bro, that man's tiny compared to this guy, bro. There's reasons why there are weight classes in boxing, bro. It's not just because they want to see the most evenest fight. It's because it's just not fair. It's just not fair. Go fight your dad. It just doesn't make sense, bro. It's kids versus adults. It just don't make no sense.
Senior citizen and is an actual boxer. But what we will see on Fight Night will depend on how serious the both of them take it. Although this is an exhibition for Jake, this fight is sink or swim. His energy is already showing he's not here to mess around. Jake can't really afford the chance to be made to look like an idiot by Tank, because all of
Because that Tyson fight, you know, at least the man was, you know what I'm saying, a boxer and the same way. You lose to Tank, you're not going to hear the end of it. And he deserves it, man. And then he wants to talk about he does it for the game. Bro, he is destroying the game. He's done a couple of things for women boxers. Shouts out to that. Shouts out to that. They deserve it. They deserve the sage in certain instances. But overall, we talking about net gains, net positive, super net negative.
His future bouts depend on him not taking the L here. If he wants that elusive Joshua fight, he can't be knocked out by a bloke half his size. Against Tyson, he could take the foot off the gas out of respect, but against Tank, I would be surprised if he wasn't looking to make a statement. But the level of challenge Paul will get will depend on Tank. I do believe if Tank decides he wants to show out and teach Paul a lesson, he would easily be able to do so. But will he? That's the question. He did look quite reserved in this presser, but really he does that early on in most promotions, so I'm not really reading too much into that. Yet I do worry he won't take this camp serious, and he might end up in the ring over 10 rounds with a bloke double his size, who is. Paul, bottom line, will be taking this camp seriously. It is honestly sink or swim for him. If Tank doesn't take it seriously, he might be in for a harder night than he thinks he is. Although, what might bring the serious out of Tank is Paul's antics through the promotion. Paul's a good marketer, bottom line, and he knows the more pissed off Tank gets, the more eyes will be on his promotion. So already yesterday, he tried to push a few buttons to see if Javante would crack with a few stunts, with the clowns having a go at his DV cases, but none of it really seemed to get to him. And today we saw the old strat of, hey, let's bet on who will be the winner, and that was way too drawn out, yet Tank didn't really seem phased. But as the promotion does go on, I think we will only see more and more antics. And if Javante's ego gets bruised, I think we might see his approach to the fight swing from it just being a fun exhibition. Also, I won't moan on about it too much, but it is fascinating to see this is where boxing is. Love it or hate it, this commercially is one of the biggest events for boxing this year. And it's amazing to see how they've gone from Deji to Tank. But once again, I can't really criticize Tank for taking this fight. Although I think it's sad that he might never live up to his true boxing potential, I do really believe if any of your favourite boxers were offered the chance to fight Jake, they would jump at it. So who's really the judge? But now, as always, I want to hear your thoughts at home.
It's a disgrace, man. It's a disgrace. But it's up to us. It's up to us to stop watching it. Stop watching it. If you want to watch it, just wait like a week later, you know? Watch it then, you know? Then the man loses. He loses. But hopefully he loses anyway. And then he just stuck in the WWE with his brother. You know? Go fake grab on each other all day and night. You know? Have fun with that. But stay out of boxing. Stay out of the real fighting stuff, man. It's ridiculous, man. I can't stand seeing it. But, hey, that's going to do it for today's video. Go ahead, binge the rest of the channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Let me hear what y'all think about this, man. And hey, we ain't rich, but we Richard. Until next time.